So you're probably wondering, how is Omicron going? I mean, we've heard so much conflicting information about how transmissible it is, how serious it is. And after all, it's coming into the country that's already being dominated by Delta. Well, it came in and it got some work done. Omicron is now raced ahead of other variants. It's now the dominant version of coronavirus already. It accounts for 73% of new infections last week. There has been a nearly 6-fold increase in its share of infections in only 1 week. And look, we've been talking about COVID literally every day. I have no idea how that would be possible, but I have to assume it's a combination of absolutely incredible levels of additional transmissibility for this variant, combined with the fact that we are probably at a critical low of people socially distancing, avoiding packed groups, and wearing masks. So you combine those things, and this is really the perfect storm. But it's a storm that's gonna be taking place inside of your lungs, which isn't good. In some of the country, it's even higher than that 73%, by the way. Omicron's responsible for an estimated 90% or more of new infections in the New York area, the Southeast, the industrial Midwest, and the Pacific Northwest. That's basically the country. 650,000 Omicron infections in the US last week. And if you wanna see its takeover of Delta over the past few months, take a look at this. Initially, Delta's just the only game in town, basically, and that is so rapidly changing. But anyway, that's Omicron. What about the overall state of the pandemic? Well, infections are once again going up. If we could jump ahead to this New York Times chart there, you can see that we are close to achieving the highs of case counts that we had in the last wave. We can just go ahead one more chart. You're gonna see right there that we are very much entering into a new wave. And as always, we're gonna play this game, which is, will this be the wave that breaks the historic trend of cases and then hospitalizations and then deaths? That trend has always been there, sometimes lagged, but it's always there. Everyone is hoping that this will be different, that the cases will come and it will lead to hospitalizations and likely hospitals being overrun and people needlessly suffering and getting long COVID. And that's gonna be a national tragedy for literally years, if not decades. But maybe the deaths won't come. Well, we'll see. We don't know yet. It hasn't been long enough with Omicron for us to know. There was some data internationally that implied that Omicron was less intense. And bear in mind, it's also being introduced into a country where at least 3 out of 4 Americans have had at least one vaccine shot, which might not protect them from getting Omicron, and it doesn't seem like it's doing a very good job of that, but might well lower the severity of the infection that you get. But there has been also some reason to believe that the data from South Africa that sort of established the narrative for Omicron might not be totally perfect to draw from because they have a much younger population. So we are going to see together over the next few weeks if hospitalizations and deaths go up. As of right now, comparing today to 2 weeks ago, in general, hospitalizations are up 14%, cases up 20%, deaths up 3%. But again, it's usually lagged, so we are going to have to see. It's basically impossible to say right now. Just want to quickly touch base with some places where these infections are happening. So really fast, SpaceX has a facility here in LA. They had 132 employees tested positive for COVID-19 in a limited period of time. That is a huge spike. It is apparently the single largest spike for an employer in this area. So, hopefully their leadership will take this seriously, but maybe they're just so worked up over being Time Man of the Year and getting to host SNL that they don't care about that sort of thing. I personally think that your employees getting sick and having to deal with health problems for the rest of their life is a serious thing. But I'm not Time Man of the Year, so what do I know? What I do know is that Elon Musk's prior comments about the pandemic don't give me a lot of hope that he's gonna really take it seriously and prioritize the health of his employees. Back in May of last year, he said, Tesla's restarting production today against Alameda County rules. I will be on the line with everyone else. If anyone is arrested, I ask that it only be me. Sure he did. Oh, he said it. I'm sure he was on that line. He probably had a wrench. He was like tightening bolts down and attaching panels. I'm sure he was really doing that. But we also know that early on in the pandemic, on March 6th, he said the coronavirus panic is dumb. So just bear that in mind every time you're told that he is a genius He's one of the smartest people on the planet. He thought it was dumb. I mean, it's only killed over 800,000 people confirmed. Back in March 19th of last year, he also thought that we would have 0 new cases by the end of April. By the way, that was April of that year he was saying that. On his deadline, we had 20,000 and it has gone up way, way higher than that many times. So anyway, they're having some issues there at SpaceX, and it is at his companies generally. COVID outbreaks are one set of problems that they need to deal with. The rampant culture of racism and misogyny is another one. We'll see if this triumvirate of problems ever gets solved under his watch. But anyway, that is the state of Omicron. So everyone, just stay safe out there. I know that you're gonna see your families. Some of you are gonna travel, but definitely at least mask up. Get vaccinated, get boosted if you can. It's not perfect protection, it never was, and it's worse now than it was, but it's what you have. And with a variant that is so transmissible, you at the very least have to wear a mask. For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.